Assalamu alaikum to Muslim friends around the world. For centuries, the story seemed finished. The grand mosques of Spain had become museums. The Islamic kingdoms that once ruled much of the Iberian Peninsula had faded into history books. Visitors walked through magnificent landmarks, admired the breathtaking architecture, and listened to stories of a civilization that had disappeared long ago. Or had it? Today, something remarkable is happening across Spain. In cities large and small, mosques are welcoming growing numbers of worshippers. Islamic cultural centers are expanding their activities. Young people are searching for spiritual meaning, and some are discovering Islam for the first time. What many believed belonged only to the past is once again becoming part of Spain's modern reality. The transformation is drawing attention not only from Europe, but from around the world. How could a faith that seemed to vanish from Spain's public life centuries ago suddenly become one of the country's fastest-growing religions? To understand the answer, we must travel back more than 1,000 years. There was a time when Spain was known as Al-Andalus, a land where magnificent cities illuminated the night with knowledge, science, and culture, while much of Europe was still emerging from the Dark Ages. Scholars, mathematicians, physicians, and philosophers gathered in centers of learning that attracted students from distant lands. The legacy of that era can still be seen today in the towering palaces of Granada, the stunning arches of Córdoba, and countless historical treasures scattered across the country. But history took a dramatic turn. As Christian kingdoms gradually expanded southward, the Islamic territories shrank. Then, in 1492, the last Muslim kingdom fell. Many believe that this marked the end of Islam's story in Spain forever. Yet, history often moves in unexpected ways. Centuries later, the descendants of a new generation are once again filling prayer halls. Islamic festivals are becoming more visible. Communities are growing. Conversations about faith, identity, and spirituality are taking place across the nation. Some observers call it a revival. Others call it a demographic shift. Whatever name is given to it, one fact is impossible to ignore. Islam is once again becoming a visible part of Spain's social landscape. And this is only the beginning of the story. What is causing this unexpected change? Why are more people across Spain showing interest in a faith that many once viewed only as a chapter of ancient history? The answer may surprise you. For many Spaniards, the journey toward Islam does not begin in a mosque. It begins with questions. Questions about purpose, questions about identity, about what truly matters in a world that seems to move faster every year. Across Spain, a growing number of young people say they feel disconnected from modern life. Despite technological advances and greater material comfort, many are searching for deeper meaning and spiritual fulfillment. That search has led some of them to Islam. Unlike the stereotypes often portrayed in the media, many new Muslims describe their first encounters with Islam as unexpectedly simple. They discover a faith centered on worshiping one God, daily prayer, charity, discipline, and personal responsibility. For some, the appeal lies in the clarity of its teachings. For others, it is the strong sense of community. And for many, it is the feeling that Islam provides answers to questions they have been asking for years. Social media has also played a major role. Today, a person in Madrid, Barcelona, or Valencia can watch lectures, read stories from converts, and learn about Islamic beliefs with just a few clicks. Information that was once difficult to access is now available to millions of people instantly. As a result, curiosity is growing. But there is another factor that cannot be ignored. Spain's Muslim communities have become increasingly visible in everyday life. Muslim doctors, teachers, business owners, athletes, and students contributing to society in every field. For many Spaniards, their understanding of Islam no longer comes from headlines. It comes from personal interactions with neighbors, co-workers, classmates, and friends. These real-life experiences often challenge old assumptions.
As curiosity grows, some people begin reading about Islam. Others visit mosques during open house events. A few eventually decide to embrace the faith themselves. Not everyone makes the same journey. Not everyone reaches the same conclusion. But one thing is becoming clear. Interest in Islam is growing, and the conversation surrounding it is becoming more visible across Spain. The question now is no longer whether Islam exists in modern Spain. The real question is how significant its presence could become in the years ahead. Something extraordinary is taking place behind the doors of Spain's mosques. Every Friday, thousands of worshippers gather for prayer. During Ramadan, prayer halls become crowded long before sunset. Families arrive together, young people fill community events, and volunteers work late into the night preparing meals for those breaking their fast. For many observers, it is a scene that would have been difficult to imagine just a few decades ago. Across Spain, mosques have become more than places of worship. They have become centers of community life. Inside these buildings, children learn about faith and values. Families receive support during difficult times. New Muslims find guidance as they begin their spiritual journey. People from different backgrounds meet, talk, and build friendships that often cross cultural and ethnic boundaries. The atmosphere is especially striking during Ramadan. As the sun sets, long tables are prepared for iftar meals. Strangers sit side by side. Conversations fill the room. Volunteers distribute food and water. The sense of unity creates an experience that many visitors never forget. And it is not only immigrants who are attending. An increasing number of Spanish-born Muslims are becoming active members of these communities. Some have Muslim family roots. Others embraced Islam after years of personal study and reflection. Together, they represent a new generation of Muslims growing up in modern Spain. Their presence can be seen everywhere. They are university students pursuing advanced degrees. They are entrepreneurs launching new businesses. They are healthcare workers caring for patients. They are teachers, engineers, athletes, and professionals contributing to Spanish society every day. This growing visibility is changing perceptions. For centuries, many people associated Islam in Spain only with history, something connected to ancient palaces, medieval kingdoms, and famous monuments. Today, however, Islam is no longer just part of Spain's past, it is part of Spain's present.
And as Muslim communities continue to grow and organize, their influence on the country's cultural and social landscape is becoming increasingly noticeable. Yet growth often brings challenges. As communities expand, questions about identity, integration, and the future of religious diversity become more important than ever. As Islam becomes more visible across Spain, not everyone sees the changes in the same way. For some, the growing presence of Muslim communities represents cultural diversity, religious freedom, and the evolution of a modern society. For others, it raises questions about identity, tradition, and the future direction of the country. This is where the story becomes even more fascinating. While mosques are attracting worshippers and Islamic centers are expanding their activities, Muslim communities also face significant challenges. One of the biggest challenges is perception. Many Muslims in Spain feel that public understanding of Islam is often shaped by stereotypes rather than personal experience. News headlines, political debates, and social media discussions can sometimes create misconceptions that do not reflect the daily lives of ordinary Muslims. As a result, many Islamic organizations have focused on building bridges with the wider community. Mosques increasingly organize open house events where visitors can ask questions and learn about Islamic beliefs directly. Community leaders participate in interfaith dialogues. Volunteers work on charitable projects that serve people regardless of religion or background. These efforts aim to replace misunderstanding with conversation. And in many cases, they are working. More Spaniards are meeting Muslims as colleagues, classmates, neighbors, and friends. Personal interaction often reveals a reality that is far more complex and far more human than stereotypes suggest. But there are other challenges as well. Young Muslims growing up in Spain often balance multiple identities. They are fully Spanish, yet they also belong to a global Muslim community.
Many see no contradiction between these identities, but navigating both worlds can sometimes require patience and confidence. At the same time, Muslim communities themselves are evolving. A new generation is emerging, one that speaks Spanish fluently, participates actively in society, and sees itself as part of Spain's future rather than separate from it. This shift is changing the conversation. The debate is no longer about whether Muslims belong in Spain. Increasingly, it is about how different communities can work together to build a shared future. And that future may look very different from what many people expect. Because beneath the headlines and public debates, a deeper transformation is taking place, one that is gradually reshaping the social and cultural landscape of the nation. The question now is not whether Islam has returned to Spain's public life. As the sun sets over Spain's historic cities, the echoes of history seem impossible to ignore. For centuries, the story of Islam in Spain appeared to belong entirely to the past. Travelers admired ancient palaces, magnificent courtyards, and breathtaking architecture, seeing them as reminders of a civilization that had long disappeared. But today, a new chapter is being written. Across the country, Muslim communities continue to grow. New generations are finding their place in Spanish society, and conversations about faith, identity, and culture are becoming more visible than ever before. The Spain of the 21st century is not the Spain of the Middle Ages, nor is it the Spain of centuries past. It is a modern, democratic nation shaped by globalization, migration, technology, and cultural exchange. Within this changing landscape, Islam has become one of many voices contributing to the country's evolving identity. What makes this moment remarkable is not simply the growth of Muslim communities. It is the contrast between history and the present. Hundreds of years after the end of Muslim rule in Iberia, Islamic faith and culture are once again visible in everyday Spanish life, not through kingdoms or empires, but through ordinary people, families, students, entrepreneurs, professionals, and converts who are shaping their futures in Spain. Some analysts believe the Muslim population will continue to grow in the coming decades. Others argue that integration, education, and social participation will be more important than numbers alone. What is certain is that Islam is no longer merely a historical memory in Spain. It is part of the nation's contemporary reality. And perhaps that is the most fascinating aspect of this story. History is often imagined as something fixed and finished, yet Spain reminds us that history can return in unexpected ways. The faith that once flourished in Al-Andalus, disappeared from public life, and survived only in monuments and memories, has found new expression in a completely different age, not as a revival of the past, but as part of the future. Whether this development becomes one of Europe's most significant social transformations remains to be seen. However, one thing is undeniable: the story of Islam in Spain is still being written.